Welcome back to Tuesday's Thought. I am Jassett Crooks McGrowder, and today we'll be talking about what's that meal doing for you? Before we get started, please go ahead and like, share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. So let's get started. What's that meal doing for you? So as we know, it is essential for us to eat to stay alive or to survive, right? Most people, if given the opportunity, they don't just want to survive, because when you think of survive, it means to continue to live or to exist, especially, in spite of danger or hardship. So most people want to enjoy life and not just survive, but we do need food if we are going to survive. For example, if you ask a person how they're doing and they respond, "Oh, I'm just surviving," then you know that person is not living, things are not going well for that person, right? They're not living to the fullest. Something is not okay if they tell you they're just surviving. So we want to do more than just surviving with food. So we eat for different reasons. Some people eat because they are hungry. Some people eat when they're not hungry, they just eat because the food is available. Some because they're on a certain diet, and a certain diet might require you to eat certain things and at certain times. Some people because they're forced to eat, right? Maybe kids, a lot of times they're forced to eat, so they eat. It could be that we eat because we're at a social gathering and that's what's expected. It's expected for us to eat. So we eat for different reasons, right? Etc. And if we don't eat, we know that eventually we will die. So they don't have an exact length of time in regard to how long we can go without eating. They have some rough estimate. But for ethical reasons, you can't do those kind of research to find out how long a person can go without eating, or how long a person can go without drinking. But we do know, drinking water, but we do know that you can go longer without eating than without drinking. So we need nutrients, you know that. We need nutrients to live, and those nutrients come from what we consume. What we consume, whatever we put in our mouth that's nutritious, that's where the nutrients is going to come from. And some of us eat healthy. Some of us do not eat healthy. And some of us are somewhere on that spectrum where sometimes we eat healthy, sometimes we don't eat healthy, right? So there's a spectrum there. You already know the person who is eating healthy is doing better for his or her body than the person who's not eating healthy, right? So, however, eating, whether healthy or unhealthily, is necessary. It's a necessity, and we do it because we have to do it. What I eat will dictate how I feel physically, and even mentally at times. If I continue to eat foods that are not healthy, eventually I am going to see the negative impact on my body, and dare I say, my mind, my attitude, my outlook on life. If I keep eating the unhealthy food, that's what's going to happen to me. And so people might not realize this, but the type of food you do eat can indeed have an impact on your mental health. They've found that, for example, if an individual is struggling with depression, you want to stay away from processed carbohydrate foods like white bread or cereal or pasta, snack foods, negatively, food that affect the blood sugar levels. So if you think about it, an individual who's depressed is feeling down and out and low, and then they might eat these different processed food that, carbohydrates turns into sugar. So they might get this high after eating this food. So you get that, I'm feeling great, but then they crash. And so that crashing part of it is not good when you're already feeling down, you're already feeling depressed, and now you crash and you're feeling fatigued and you're feeling down. So individuals who are depressed are not encouraged to eat processed food or food with high sugar content in it, right? So studies have found that studies link processed food with a disruption of neural receptors that affects mood control. So just a little something out there. If a person's down and out, processed and high sugar food is probably not the way to go, even though a lot of times that is the way that people go when they're not feeling so on the up and up. If they're down for whatever reason, it might be ice cream, it might be Twinkies, cakes, whatever it might need to be, because you're not feeling good and you're thinking these things are going to pick you up and make you feel good, but only for a short time. When I say it can affect you, even your mind, let's just look at a scenario. Let's say you have been eating a lot of junk food, a lot of unhealthy food, whatever it might be, or, which results in, let's say I am eating a lot of unhealthy food. Let's put it on me. I'm eating a lot of unhealthy food, and this results in me being significantly overweight. So I've gained a lot of weight because I'm eating a lot of unhealthy food, a lot of high sugar content, a lot of high fat, and I'm not exercising. And so after a while, I gain weight and I keep gaining weight, and I'm loving this food that I'm eating. And I reach to that point where I recognize that I'm overweight. And now that could lead to me thinking about myself in a lot of negative ways, especially in a society that is not always kind to individuals who are overweight, right? So I might start disliking myself. I might even develop low self-esteem based on how I'm being treated by others because I am overweight, or maybe I am obese based on my own actions of eating unhealthy food. Now, I know that individuals can be overweight for many different reasons, okay? It can be for health reasons, it could be hereditary, it could be medication, it could be many different things that people might get to a point of being overweight or obese, okay? So I understand that. But this example is just if I choose to eat the stuff that's unhealthy and I don't exercise and I gain weight. So let's look at it from that perspective. So now I might develop low self-esteem because people are looking at me when I go anywhere. In my mind, I'm telling myself they're talking about me. They're saying I'm fat, the dreaded word. I start thinking negatively of myself, and I start projecting, thinking that people are thinking negatively of me. This could lead to me having a negative attitude towards people. Even though they might not be thinking anything negative, I'm thinking they are, so I might start having a negative attitude, and I start thinking negatively. So what I have consumed physically, right, because it tastes good, because it was easier to prepare, it was cheaper to purchase, whatever the reason, what I have consumed physically is now affecting me psychologically. Now it's affecting me where I might not want to leave my home because I've gained so much weight and I don't want people talking about me. I don't want people to see me and people to make me feel bad about myself. So it can basically affect my whole life, what I put in my mouth. can affect my whole life, everything about me, right? I might become so discouraged that I might say to myself, what's the point? I'm going to keep eating this junk food. It tastes good. My taste buds are happy when I'm having it. It's the only thing now that makes me happy, where we get to that point of emotional eating. So nothing else is making me feel good, so I'm going to eat this junk food, whatever it might be, whatever the choice of junk food it is that I like. And I keep eating it, and I keep gaining weight, and then I keep disliking myself more, right? And I keep getting more unhealthy and maybe even having physical ailments, diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever it might be. What I started with can lead out to be a disaster for me. I might even try for a few days, maybe a few weeks or a month or so to eat healthy, right? So I'm going to start eating healthy, maybe start doing a little exercise, and I've been doing it diligently for a month, maybe 2 months, and I don't see the improvement. I don't see where I'm losing weight. So what do? I give up and I go back to what's comfortable. I go back to what makes me not have to work so hard. And so now I'm at the point where I could start even hating myself, right? Because of what I've done to myself. And now it takes too much energy, physically and mentally, for me to rectify it, right? All because of what I started doing and continue doing, which is what I put in my mouth, what I choose to eat. So back to the title of this Tuesday's Thought. What's that meal doing for you, right? What you're putting in your mouth, what is it doing for you, right? And I'm talking about the physical, but as you know, this is Tuesday's Thought, and I always go into the spiritual as well, right? As we often say, sow the physical, sow the spiritual, right? So we're going to talk about the spiritual as well. But I want you to consider and to think about what you're putting in your body and what is it doing to your body. What is that meal doing for you? The breakfast that you had this morning, what is that meal doing for you? The lunch that you had today, what did it do for you and what is it doing for you? And what's the long-term effect that it's going to have on you? And the dinner that you might have had already, or you're going to have a late one, think about what you're putting in your mouth and what kind of effect it's going to have on you. Because what we do put in our mouths it's going to eventually have some kind of impact. It can have positive impact on you or totally negative impact. For next week, I want you to think, I'm not going to see you again until next Tuesday. I want you to think about what you're putting in your mouth. I want you to think about what effect that meal is going to have on you. Is it going to be good for the short term? Is it immediate gratification and it tastes good and I just love how it tastes right now and I just want to satisfy myself right now? And that's why I'm doing it, even though I know down the road it's going to have negative impact on me, right? Am I just doing this for immediate gratification? Let's do some evaluation. Ask ourselves, what's that meal doing for you? And what is that meal going to do for you? So the next time you put something in your mouth, think about that. Next week, we're going to talk about the spiritual meals that we eat. And we're going to talk about what they're doing for us. So if you're always choosing the healthy meal, you're always eating healthy, lots of fruits and veggies and all the healthy stuff, and staying at the outer skirt of the grocery store where it's all the healthy food and staying away from the middle aisles where you have your processed unhealthy food, then great. But if you're not, ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? What's that meal doing for you? Have a blessed night, and we'll talk about the spiritual meals next week. God bless you.